This week I am having my final appointment at the hospital. It's not something we've talked about before on the channel, so I thought now would be a really good time, as this is quite a important time for me. Basically, 5 years ago, I went to the doctors and I had some moles on my back. Basically, I went there, I got them measured. My parents basically persuaded me to go. I just thought like, oh, they've been there most of my life, like it doesn't matter. Anyway, went, got them measured. They were like, they're fine. They just need to be monitored. So that was that. A month or two later, I went on holiday and it was like 28 degrees. I put factor 30 on every single day. And, you know, I noticed that my back had, one of the moles had a dark patch in it. So it's a lighter brown around the outside and there was a darker brown patch on the inside. So I thought, go back, go and get them checked at the doctors. And they measured it up and they said, I think we need to refer you to dermatology at the hospital. So that's what happened. And about a month later, I had an appointment at the hospital. They checked it over as their skin specialist and they said, you know, I think it's best for us to do a biopsy. And what that basically entails is they cut around the skin where the mole is. They send it off to the lab to be tested to see if there's any cancerous cells in the skin and whether it's spread, etc, etc. And then I'm stitched up, not left with a hole. And then they were like, it's going to take 3 to 6 weeks and we'll call you with the results. So, you know, still, I was very naive at this point. I was just like, what could this mean? Like, I'll be fine. Anyway, 3 weeks later, I get a phone call from the hospital and they said, can you come in for a chat? And even then, it just didn't click. I was so oblivious and I was like, is it good? Is it bad? They won't tell you anything over the phone, which is kind of understandable, but like doesn't ease the stress and anxiety it brings. Anyway, I ended up going to the hospital and within 5 minutes they mentioned the C word. And it's not something that you're ever taught at school, how to deal with massive changes in your life. And like, if you do have a medical condition like that, you know, it's sudden onset stuff, you know, how are you supposed to deal with that? And I was in like my very early 20s, like I was just still like, you know, developing as a young adult, figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. And then, you know, I get this dropped on me and, you know, very naturally, I didn't know what to do with the news when I got told I had cancer. So I just cried a lot. And that is a very normal response. They're saying all this stuff and yeah, it just made no sense. And basically they told me that I had malignant melanoma, which is a skin cancer. It's very, I think they said it was benign. But no, I had malignant melanoma, which is a skin cancer. And they talked through kind of the stages. So you have like 0 up until 4, 5, that kind of thing there. And they're all split up. And it explains like what it actually means, like how severe is your case. And for me, fortunately, I was in the very early stages. I think I was a stage 1B, which meant that it was a lot easier to treat it. I was given 2 options. The first option was to have an injection on my body, and that would basically flag up any lymph nodes that are like swollen or showing cancerous signs, and then they'd remove those. However, there were side effects with that. It did have the highest rate of survival, I think they referred to it as, and it just meant like, you know, potential for blood clots, that kind of thing. And I was very young and I was like, I don't think this is the route I want to go down. And if you did go down that route, you would be checked on for an entire year afterwards, which is nice. To make sure that you're still being checked on by the skin specialist and make sure everything's okay. But obviously it did come with side effects, so I decided not to go down that route. So instead I did the second option, which was leave everything as it is. For the first 2 years, I'd be checked on every 3 months at the hospital. So they'd do like a thorough skin check, take photographs if they need to, etc. And then for the last 3 years, it's every 6 months. And that's basically what's happened. So now I've come to the end of that journey. As of tomorrow, because I'm filming this the day before. So I feel a lot of things. I feel excited. I feel emotional, upset, like all sorts. It's been quite a big chunk of my life. And actually, 3 months after I had my surgery where I had cancer, I found another mole on my back that had the same sort of signs. And I had to have another biopsy done. So now I've had 2 of those operations. Fortunately, the second one didn't have any signs of cancer, but it was just to remove it in case, it could turn. I think they called it an atypical mole. So this is kind of my journey as to like what I've been going through for the last 5 years, how it's affected me. It affects everyone differently, but it's really made me realise like the importance of looking after your skin. I don't want to sound cliche, but if I hadn't got checked, I don't know what would have happened. So they've told me that there's key signs to look out for, but it's different from person to person. So if your moles grow in size, shape, change colour, or grow hair, any of those kind of variables there, it's best to get them checked. But for the sake of like a 5 to 10 minute appointment at your doctor's, like it would give you a lot of peace of mind. But yeah, I was the first person in my family to have skin cancer. It was a real change in my life, and like it's taught me so much. For simple 10-minute appointment, if you're even conscious about any moles that you have, like go and get them checked. So I mentioned that today was going to be my final appointment at the hospital to check for my skin, to see if there was any like signs of moles that have changed, etc. Basically, I didn't end up going. So we moved nearly 2 years ago now, and it would have meant I'd have to travel like over an hour to go to the hospital, and that was just like a massive faff. And realistically, they should have automatically transferred me when I moved, but they didn't. So I'm now trying to sort out moving. Like I've got to ring my doctors to get me to move to another hospital closer to us, just so I have my last appointment. So at least I am checked. So basically all in all, just thought we would share like a little bit of personal news with you guys.